How much money are you really making per hour? How much money are you truly making per hour? Because the truth of the matter is, it's not just about the money you're earning. It is how that money is being taxed, and then ultimately how much time and energy you are spending on that post-tax dollar. That is truly how much you're making per hour. Welcome to Build with Rob. It is your boy, Rob Dyrdek. We're talking money today. We're talking financial harmony today. It's really about earning money. It's everybody's goal to find that financial security, build the lifestyle that they want. Like, money is incredibly important in fulfilling so many aspects of our life. I love to talk a lot about where you've got to learn and understand money, create financial design that leads you to a place of financial harmony that ultimately guides you to that financial freedom that allows you to use your time and energy on the things that you love doing the most. And for a lot of people like me, I enjoy doing what I do to earn money. And then I do it in such an efficient way that the actual value that it creates for me is way more significant than I think a lot of people in my particular world would experience. And I've been thinking a lot about this lately because, it's in financial literacy, there's this aspect of really understanding money as it relates to money in a post-tax world. It's the idea of, you earn a certain amount of money and then you always kind of lean into like, that's how much I make, and for people that have jobs that aren't necessarily paid by the hour, but they have a salary, it becomes incredibly confusing to really understand like how much you're actually earning for the time and energy that you're putting into the money that you're earning. It's are you working into the night on the weekends? Like, are you spending all of this extra mind share, stressing about hitting a deadline or being a part of it, and like where you're actually earning way less money because of the fact of how much time and energy you're putting into the job or your specific career, way beyond what you truly understand from an hourly perspective. And I use the hourly perspective because I think it becomes much easier to understand if you begin to look at your life through the lens of like, how much am I actually netting with the time I'm spending working based off of the money that I'm creating. And I think even when you look as an entrepreneur who has a salary and then goes and sells his company after 10 years, if you looked at that payday and dropped it down to the time and energy, post-tax dollars, what you really have, man, you basically just had a regular job for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like it really ends up being this beautiful sort of way of looking at the efficiency of your time, energy, and money, and to get a better understanding of how much you're actually earning. And I'll give you some examples from me because I earn money in three different ways, right? So I have the venture business where I build and sell companies and earn big returns that are taxed at a long-term capital gains rate. Then I have television and ordinary income that's taxed at an ordinary income rate, And then I have, investments in real estate that is fully tax efficient, where it's hardly taxed at all, And that's sort of these three core buckets of how you're taxed. And then, of course, I live in California, which makes my soul hurt Every time I even think about it, and I contemplated moving out of California on numerous occasions, strictly for the taxes. And then I would get mad at myself of like, it's not about money. This is like your home and like your legacy. And then you become such a mastery of time, energy, and money, and you understand your post-tax efficiency of what you're earning per hour. And when you look at that California number, it ain't worth it. This weather ain't worth it. It rained all winter. It ain't worth it. But I'm here, and I'm not moving. I just got to continue to bite the bullet on that. But think about this from the lens of time. So now, from a time perspective, I divide my time up incredibly, intentionally, where I spend the majority of my time working on my health, sleeping, spending time with my family, my wife, right? And then I work, 25% of my time. And so now when you think about that percentage, now you begin to break that down into you work on the Dyrdek machine, you work on shooting television and ridiculousness, and then managing your own assets and your overall investments of how you're building your wealth, if you will. And when I look at those buckets, we know how efficient I am, right? So we can go and look at like shooting television and how much money that I make for shooting television, which is 4% of my time. So when you think about the income that is earned for that 4%, it's pretty significant on an hourly basis. But then when you have to look at the fees that I have to pay inside that, and then you look at that gets brought down to me and it's ordinary income. So I pay 50% tax on that. Half of it goes out the door. So, when you break that down and it gets down to the 50% for that limited amount of time that I put in, and again, 4% of your year would be the equivalency of 1 hour a day. And it is a significant amount of money as it relates to what I am getting paid per hour. And again, why I track the time that I prep, the time that I'm actually drive to the studio and drive home and shoot it. I connect all of that as in the total time that I have dedicated to it. But I look at that number through the lens of a per hourly use of time post-tax after all those fees and that big 50% ordinary income tax. And I end up with an hourly number that I think is incredible, okay? I think when you think of a pro athlete and they're like, oh, he makes, $40 million a year and he only plays 82 games a year for 2.5 hours, that is not accurate. That is not accurate. If you began to break that down and all the travel and the practice and all the training and the rehab, when you begin to look at all of the hours that have to actually be dedicated, then when you think about being a pro athlete, you're taking 25% off the top with managers and agents and lawyers, and then you get that dollar and cut that thing in half. Your post-tax dollar is so much smaller than your salary or your contract dollar that the world thinks you make, and that you get that because the reporters will say, oh, he's getting $100,000 a game, whatever it is. But the truth is, after you get rid of all of the fees and then you look at all the actual time, that $100,000, a game is like $5,000 a game. You know what I mean? Or $5,000 an hour because it's like you're only playing the game for 2.5 hours. It is so much more to that than I think people, give credit for. And to me, when I think of like what I make post-tax for an ordinary income talent with something like ridiculousness that I have so highly efficient, it's still incomparable to looking at the long-term capital gains returns that I've been getting through the Dyrdek machine based off of the acquisitions that we have had over the last couple years, when you look at the amount of time I've dedicated to working at the machine, and then the now 35% in taxes that I'm paying versus the 50%, and then the amount of hours that I need to dedicate to oversee the portfolio that led to that, it becomes much more efficient for me than shooting television, right? And so, when I look at that on an hourly basis, it's still fascinating, and it's still a significant amount of money, and it's still like so much higher and way better than ever being like a pro athlete that travels all year around, is practicing all week and spend, the dedication to it. It's like you never really think about it through that perspective. But when you begin to look at it through that perspective, you begin to understand it all. And then you can begin to look at like where you want to spend your time, where an opportunity actually is for you to earn much more money based off of time, energy, and taxes. And the holy grail that I live in is then my tax efficient investment strategy and cash flowing assets. It's the holy grail. It just is the holy grail. It is when you look at that, because I only have to dedicate, a handful of hours a year to manage the portfolio and gather insight in the portfolio. And then it's, 80% tax depreciated real estate, tax-free bonds. You're paying taxes on your money market account earned money and your ETF dividend. But when you look at that, the total tax of that ends up being at like 7%. And then when you look at what that per hour, when you're talking about dedicating a few hours a year, even 10 hours a year, that amount of money earned per year post-tax is second to none in the human experience. Because it is like literally the idea of mailbox money. Because there is almost no time, no energy, and it's highly tax efficient. So you are literally making the most amount of money that you could ever possibly earn on an hourly basis through just design, through financial design, right? And that's sort of the three worlds that I play in. And then I just look at everything through that lens, and even with all my spare time where I am dedicated to continually evolving the philosophy and building the software and building out sort of these other aspects of it, that ends up being a majority of my time that I enjoy creating with the intent of creating a bigger business that has a higher level of opportunity that gets to an automated state that requires, very little effort, because it's what I enjoy doing with that spare time. But, when you think about it for yourself, if you just continually think about it through that lens of looking at how you earn money, how you are taxed, and then ultimately how much real time are you dedicating to earning that money. And that is going to give you a much clearer idea of really how effective the job that you have is, and in the sense of creating the income that allows you to live the lifestyle that you want to live, and what you are sacrificing in order to get that. And I just think that, every person thinking about the way that they earn money through that lens also gives you deeper insight on whether or not you just have a really taxing job from both regular taxes and time and energy. and is it ultimately worth it in the long run? And if you create a great financial strategy that says, hey, I'm going to sort of sacrifice this ability to earn this money because I'm going to like save a ton of money, then I'm going to get back my time and energy to do what I enjoy doing more often. Is one way to approach it, but the best way to approach it is to ultimately have a clear understanding of the amount of money that you are earning, the taxes you are paying on it, and how much time and energy that you have to dedicate to actually end up with a per hour dollar figure that really, really shows you how much you're earning per hour. And I think that calibrating your life towards making that more and more efficient and that number getting higher and higher, that is what I think even makes for a much more fulfilling and enjoyable experience as it relates to having a career in whatever it may be. Because if I often think about the idea that if you just got rid of the Dyrdek machine altogether and if I just shot television and then invested in my cash flowing tax and time efficient portfolio, I would literally, like, the combined level of time, energy, and effort in that simple strategy right there would probably be the holy grail for just about any person alive. Those two things, take 4.2% of my entire time and generate, the amount of income to basically do whatever you want for the rest of your life. But I still look at that as just this beautiful, efficient way to earn, and look at it from a perspective of, wow, it's fascinating on how much each of these end up earning post-tax per dollar based off of the type of income and how it was earned. And I am given the gift of then having the ability to spend all that spare time, which again still equates to, call it 18% of my life, not even a significant part of my life, which is less than a normal 9-to-5 job, on chasing my passion of sharing the philosophy and continuing to build businesses and these venture concepts and software concepts and this show and all of this stuff, because I've made the efficiency in the other ways that I continue to earn money. And again, this is an episode that's much more, much more for, somebody that really is already understanding the world that they're living in and looking at how they're earning money and understanding taxes and ultimately, chasing that balanced life. But I look at this as another, super unique way to look at money. And money is at the cornerstone of your security. It is at the cornerstone of your way of life. And ultimately, it provides so much for you to live a very high quality life. And the more that you can understand how earning money is impacting your quality of life and understand how much you are actually dedicating both from time and energy to earn money, and then how that money is being taxed and ultimately comes back to you, will allow you to be smarter with even how you spend and save and invest money so that you can get to a place of continually driving that number to a more and more efficient place over time, because it is something that's incredibly important in growing into a highly optimized human being. Mastering money is the cornerstone of that. And so I always, from time to time want to share the more specifics of the way that I look at financial harmony in the different ways that you could approach it, because that's what we're trying to do out here. We're just trying to find harmony in all aspects of our existence. We're trying to optimize every single part of the machine that is us and just get better and better and better forever. And part of that is growing your wealth every step of the way in your entire evolution. Thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. And you know what it is. We always got to be hoping for the better future. We always got to be creating the plan so it happens for sure. And then we always got to give it all we got till we get there. Until next time, see it, believe it, do it.